Hi, this is Bill, and I'm back for another edition of Billboard's Guides to Comic Books, and our subsection where we look at the new releases of the upcoming week, a section we call Guiding Lines. This is, first of all, I want to throw out a question to you. I asked this before and didn't really get any response to it. I don't know if I'm going to get anything from this. This is by far and away, our most lengthy segment on the channel. It is also one of the most labor-intensive ones for me personally. I want to make sure that, and it seems to be also one of the least responded, viewed videos on our site. What I want to know, I'm throwing out to you now, for the people who are watching this, even if it's your first time or if you've been a recurring viewer, do you find this useful? Do you find this actual helps? Do you find that it actually is entertaining and informative, and would you like me to keep on doing it? Basically, I'm just trying to keep, I'm I could do it's hard to put it this way because I do stuff to try to entertain and inform people out there, but if people don't want it or don't like it, I really would rather not have to, I don't want to force something on somebody they don't want. I don't want to invest time on stuff that people don't need. Yada yada yada. So if you're out there, and this is not just me fishing for likes, because a lot of people on YouTube fish for likes and fish for comments because it helps the algorithm, helps get their channel into new eyes. But I am seriously curious, and I definitely want to know that should I keep on doing this or should I put this by the wayside and not do this anymore? Comment, even a like, just hit the like button and just let me know. Get more than one like on it or something to say. At least I know somebody's like, okay, that guy appreciate this. Because if I don't get anything, I'll just stop doing it and just phase this out. And I'm not saying this to be a mean guy or anything like that. I'm not gonna be hurt about it. I'm not gonna cry about it. The fact matters, I would rather invest my time in doing something else that you might actually like, or you might actually enjoy. And I'll say this off just from the get-go, just let everybody know that. Just if you can, if you're watching this, you watch this for I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be a long one. Just drop a like or a comment or something saying yeah, I'd like to see more of this, or just don't do anything, and I'll just know that okay, well, nobody really likes it. All right. On that note, cheery note, let's get started. We start as we do every week with the big book of the week. This one, I decided to choose a DC book for the big book of the week. Second week in a row. No favoritism here. Yeah, I try to treat everybody equally. But basically, for my opinion, the biggest book of the week is the new History of the DC Universe, #1. This is a new history of the DC Universe, obviously, unless the title is completely lying to us. It is going to be $5.99 for 48 pages. It's going to be a 4-issue limited series. It's going to be going to have wraparound covers. It will be written by Mark Waid, with art by Jerry Ordway and Todd Knock, colors by John Kellis, letters by Matt Helms. Cover will be by Chris Samney and on art, and Giovanna Miro on colors. The reason why it's a new history of the DC Universe, that title means two things. First of all, back at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, there's a history of the DC Universe, a 2-issue prestige format. And a note to anybody who sells books, if you see square-bound comic book covers that aren't quite as thick as a trade paperback, they're not trade paperbacks. Don't call them trade paperbacks. They are prestige format books. This is one of the things I think like me being an old guy knows more than these people do. But I digress. It is a 2-issue prestige series book written by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, basically to establish the new status quo after Crisis on Infinite Earths. Okay, this is now one Earth, and this is how all the various and sundry pieces fit together, and this is how the new continuity is going to work. First of all, one of my favorite series. Second of all, it had so much beautiful artwork by George Perez, and if you've been following this channel, you know that I simply adore George Perez and his artwork. So I was predisposed to that one. But that took place 40-some years ago, about 40 years ago. As a matter of fact, it might be exactly 40 years ago. And DC has gone through at least 3 reshufflings since then. So it's about time to have another series such like this to let the people know what the new status quo is and let people know what the new history of the DC universe is. Hence the second meaning of the title. I find it interesting like this, and Mark Waid, of course, did a similar series like this for Marvel. The history of the Marvel universe was kind of like it was updating of their Marvel saga, which only with a short amount of pages, and it actually made it all the way through to the end of the history of the Marvel universe. I don't know if this is going to keep the same format as that. That format had Galactus and Franklin Richards at the end of the universe, talking over the entire history of the Marvel universe from the very beginning to the end of it, which they were at, and do like little bits and pieces of stuff going through. This seems to be a similar kind of prospect, only with Galactus and Franklin Richards replaced by Barry Allen's Flash, going through and looking at all the various and sundry history of the new DC universe, which is good. I like that kind of stuff. I'm a history buff, not just comic book history, but like American history, and trying to get into world history a little more. So I enjoy like seeing histories of stuff. However, one thing that I kind of like piques my interest on a lot of the covers for this series, at least the first issue, features Superman and Batman melded in with a lot of the Golden Age characters. I don't know how this fits. It's just like I have not seen anything in continuity, which like leads us to begin. I don't know if they had an extensive period back in the World War II era, the current versions of the characters. I don't know if this has been retconned into continuity. However, last time I remember, and of course, you know, sometimes something slips through my knowledge of me with my big old melon head. I don't recall the Golden Age Batman and Superman being in continuity. One of the biggest things about Crisis was making sure like Batman and Superman did not exist back then. They got rid of the Golden Age Superman and Batman. By the time Crisis rolled around, the Golden Age Batman was dead in the comic books. He was killed off in an issue of Adventure Comics. The Golden Age Superman was still around, so he was shoved off into limbo, and he was kind of forgotten about. But the whole thing continuity that there's no Superman or Batman back in the World War II period. There was a Wonder Woman. It was later retconned that Wonder Woman's mother, Hippolyta, played the role of Wonder Woman during the war era. I think that's done doing like maybe the Byrne arc on the Wonder Woman series. But nonetheless, seeing them on the cover means like it's piquing my interest to see like are they bringing them back in the Golden Age series, and if so, I would let's get a new All-Star Squadron up and running. Let's get them somebody besides Steph Lemire running it because his JSA is not good. But I would love to see how that would work in with the current day continuity. There are so many Supermen around now. I mean, because Superman has a whole extended family, literally, of Supergirl and Superwoman and Super Kids and Superboys and all that jazz. That there's I guess they figure it might not be as confusing now to have a Superman back in the Golden Age, but I just want to see what it would work out and like who would be and like how it'd be that, or maybe it's just this seems to be a in continuity history of the DC universe. Maybe it's not. It's going to be an alternate reality. I don't know if this is alternate Earths or whatever. Anyway, my interest is piqued. I like to see how this is going to work out, and see what's going to be. So at least they got me buying the series. I don't know if anybody else will, but it should be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure like after this is published, we'll see a whole bunch of stuff on Bleeding Cool about like, oh, by the way, guess what? Superman's back in continuity in the Golden Age, and yada yada yada, and figure out a way to do that. This project will be supported by 6 open order covers. It will have cover B by Dan Mora, cover C by Ryan Sook, cover D by Scott Koblish, A Legacy Connection. And by the way, that looks like it's going to be connecting cover with, I guess, all the rest of the other 3 issues of the series. Let me just say, that cover is fire. If my local comic book store has one on hand, I didn't pre-order it, like a dummy, I would probably pick that up. It's simply beautiful. It has all the characters DC published back in the Golden Age, all on one cover. Superman holding up a thing. it's a beautiful cover. It should be made into a poster, and maybe it will be. Who knows? But yeah, that's one of the variants to look out for if you are looking out for any variants whatsoever. There'll also be cover E, which would be a foil version of the Ryan Sook cover. There'll be cover F, which is going to be done by Stanley Artgerm Lau. It's going to be a foil. And cover G will be blank, because you can get your own Golden Age DC comic character drawn on it for you if you want to. There'll be one incentive. It'll be cover H, a 1 in 25 Michael Cho variant. Michael Cho's artwork is very, very simplistic and very old-timey, if you will. So it fits in as being the whole thing for this project. So that's it for the big book of the week. Let's move jauntily on to the first issues coming up this week. And there's a lot of them. We'll start off with Marvel, because that's what we usually do. They're pretty big. They will, deserve the top spot. First up will be Giant Size, Age of the Apocalypse, #1. $4.99 for 48 pages. It's going to be a one-shot, but actually it's the third of 5 one-shots that feature Miss Marvel traveling through time, facing off against Legion in various points of the X-Men's history. There will be 2 stories in it. The main story will be written by Jackson Landing and Colin Kelly. Artwork by Carlos Fabian Villa and Rafael Lorario. The colors will be by Edgar Delgado. The cover will be by Andy Kubert on art, and Laura Martin doing the colors for him. The backup story for this will be by Jeff Loeb and Simone DeMeo. I'm sure it's going to be set in the prior history, and it's going to have some effect on the present day. And if there's anybody you want to write about who has a really precise attention to continuity, it's Jeff Loeb. Hashtag sarcasm. This Jeff Loeb has written a lot of great stories, but he's not really great at letting continuity get in the way of him telling that story. He ignores stuff that happened before if it gets in the way of the characters he wants to write. Characterization, for instance, the Red Hood in the current Hush 2 series, kind of like it's a backsliding to where he needs him to be and not where he actually has grown to in the actual continuity. But he just does it anyway because he's Jeff Loeb and he could get away with it. So I can't wait to see how out of continuity this thing that's going to be set in continuity will actually be. Old man rants at Jeff Loeb. There'll be 4 open order covers to support this. One by Ivan Talavera, one by Cale New, one by Simone DeMeo, and one by Stanley Artgerm Lau. There'll be 3 incentives. 1 in 25 by Tony S. Daniel, a 1 in 50 by Ivan Talavera. It's going to be a virgin cover of his open order variant. And a 1 in 100 of the Stanley Artgerm Lau variant, but it's going to be virgin this time. Next up is a company called Amp Comics. Basically, if you're wondering where these guys get placed in this list, alphabetical order, and by how many books they have coming out during the week. And that's how it's listed on the League of Comic Geeks website, where I get all this information from. So also, this is from this week's, say Tuesday and Wednesday, where I got this information. This may have changed, so take this with a grain of salt, and not everything on here will be coming out. As we'll see later on, a lot of times they put stuff on here and it's not released. But I digress. Next up is Amp Comics. There's a comic book called Amp Comics. They have 3 issues coming out this week, all tying into their Never Wars crossover event kind of reality. First up, Never Wars, Dorothy/Oz #1. League of Comic Geeks has this as being 99 cents for 32 pages, and it seems to be a one-shot, but it might not be a one-shot. I'll get to that after I get done with all 3 of these. Writing will be by Don Hanfield, art by Marcelo Basile, colors by Marco Aritsu, and the cover will be by Aaron Bortling. There will be one other cover for this one. It'll be a cover B by Edwin Arola, and it's going to be a wraparound cover. Next up is Never Wars, Peter, PTR/Neverland #1. This one's $4.99 for 32 pages, and it's going to be a one-shot, but wait till I'm done with all 3 and I'll go into a little about this, how it might not be. Once again, written by Don Hanfield, art by Marcelo Basile, colors by Marco Arizzo, and a cover by Aaron Bartling. This will have a cover as well, a cover B by Erwin Arola, which is a wraparound cover. Last of the three would be Never Wars. Georgie, Wonderland, number 1. $4.99 for 32 pages. Be one shot, but just wait a minute. Written by Don Hanfield, art by Marcelo Basile, colors by Marco Uritsu, and a cover by Aaron Bartling. And this will also have one other cover, a cover B by Erwin Arosa, and it's going to be a wraparound cover. Why am I lumping these all three together and not giving you a detailed rundown of all these? Because I think all of these, if I'm not mistaken, will act as the first issue of an ongoing Never War series. I looked for the previews after this because I think this was solicited for last month and delayed to this month, as most indie books typically are. But it seems to be all three are all the first number 1 for this whole series, which starts in earnest with number 2 next month. If don't count your chickens, because it is an independent book and those have really dodgy release schedules, as we will see later on. Teaser. This appears to be all a big crossover based on the Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan properties. 2 of 3 are in the public domain. Peter Pan is not. It's probably why it's spelled P-T-R instead of P-E-T-E-R. Because I believe there's a hospital in the UK that owns the right in perpetuity for Peter Pan. I think that's used by the J.M. Barrie estate, and laws of copyright and trademark have been kind of bent to make sure that happens. So all takes place is a merging of all 3 of the different realities into one thing, as like the war-like nature of our world has leached into their world, and sort of a whole kind of like darker, grittier kind of version of those. The melding of these things have been done before. I remember DC had a melding of Captain Carrot with an Oz and Wonderland war. So, and that was 40 years ago. Doesn't have Peter Pan, but then again, Peter Pan I don't believe is as public domain as everybody thinks it is. So I don't know if this has taken enough serial numbers off the original concept to not get their attention from a legal standpoint, but we shall see. Obviously, Dorothy and Oz is from Wizard of Oz. Peter, Neverland, is a kind of like a grown-up version of Peter Pan who's a pilot in World War I. And there's vague memories, I believe, in Neverland. And the Georgie in Wonderland is the grandson of Alice, who went to Wonderland. So it's interesting to see if you like any of the original concepts, if like any of those, original classic stories are some of your favorites. This might be something you could actually like look into and pick up and read, and it'd be fun and stuff like that. So next up, we have a new one from Image. News from the Fallout, number 1. There'll be $3.99 for 32 pages. A 6-issue miniseries. Be written by Chris Condon. Art by Jeffrey Allen Love. Letters by Hassan Atsmain Elihu. And cover by Jeffrey Allen Love. There'll be 1 open order cover, a cover B by Jacob Phillips, and 1 retail incentive. I believe this is the only retail incentive we have this week. Refreshing change from last week, which we had a whole handful of them. It'll be PCB Hobby, Josh C. Lyman, Virgin variant. This appears to be kind of like a post-apocalyptic one, based off of the nuclear test that took place in Nevada in the 50s. Next up, Stay Out of the Woods. It's number 1, $7.99, 48 pages, magazine-sized one-shot. Be written by Joe Pruitt, the former creative officer of Aftershock, so that should give you kind of like a indication of the grim future that Aftershock has. Aftershock had a lot of great books, and give him credit for that, and if he's not there anymore, guess what? The books probably won't be there either. Art will be by the recently passed away Butch Geist. This might be his last comic book work ever, so it might be worth picking up just for that historical aspect. Colors will be by Guy Major. Letters by Dave Sharp. Cover will be by Geis. I have 1 other cover, a cover B, a 1 in 15, by Michael William Kaluta. Pretty good talent on this for this one shot. I think it's basically it's a horror themed one. And the last book from Image Comics, new series starting, is Lazarus Fallen, number 1. $3.99 for 32 pages. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. Written by Greg Rucka, as the whole Lazarus series has been. Art by Michael Lark, ditto. Colors by Santiago Arcas, and letters by Ariana Maher. The cover would be by Michael Lark. This is the final series in the grand overreaching Lazarus series. I believe there have been 3 of them, but the whole concept is going to be wrapped up with this mini-series. So if you've been collecting it all, this is the last one you're going to have to get. And if you haven't, this might be a good one to pick up to try to get on before it ends. Next up, Dark Horse. Dark Horse has a new licensed book out, Stranger Things, Tales from Hawkins 2, number 1. I believe this is the second miniseries that is going to be an installment of random tales from the town that Stranger Things TV show is taking place in. It would be written by Derek Fridolfs, art by Tsunato C. Colors by Dan Jackson, letters by Nate Pierkos, and cover by Diego Galindo. There'll be 3 other covers. Cover B by Vincento Riccardi, cover C by Mac Chatter, and cover D by Ben Turner. Apparently, this series, the first version of the series, got very good response from fans of the show, in the way it actually expanded the mythology of the show. So this may be worth picking up if you are a fan of the show. And next up is Tramps of the Apocalypse, number 1. It's $4.99 for 32 pages, 3-issue limited series. Writing and art will be by Alice Darrow, that is the daughter of Jeff Darrow, who is most famous for the Shaolin Cowboy series and the Hard Boiled series. So if you're a fan of him, you might want to pass that fandom on to his daughter. Colors will be by Hugo Blanc, letters by Frank Svetkovic, and Darrow will be doing the cover. I believe this is another post-apocalyptic one where women are dominant, and the cover is an indication giants. Yes, my fandom for the Darrow family is not probably as much as somebody else's, so this is not on my radar. But who knows? It's only 3 issues. It's not that much of an investment if you want to give it a shot. Next up, Boom. Boom has an adaptation of the VR Troopers storyline. I think this is a kind of either a spin-off or a kind of similarly owned license of the Morphin Power Rangers series. I have the whole Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and VR Trooper eras way after I stopped watching children's television. I was practically adult at the time, and granted, did I watch the Batman animated series? That's way longer than I probably should have. Yes, but it's the Batman animated series. Outside of that, I have very limited knowledge about these things. So, but for somebody, this is their childhood in paper form, sold on a monthly basis. So, I do not want to diminish that for them. I'll let Boom do that in case this is a bad quality book. It'll cost you $4.99 for 32 pages, 6-issue limited series. If you want me to go over the price, you think it's not right, I'll probably complain again more this time, but I kind of went off at the last installment of this too. The variant would be by Mairead Scott, art by Sebastian Perez, colors by J.P. Jordan, letters by Taylor Esposito, and the cover would be by Torrin Clark. There will be 7 open order variants. Cover B by Goni Montez, cover C by Dan Panosian, Boom 20th Anniversary variant, cover D by Intermix variant. I believe this will be just the actual logo of the actual property on the cover. Cover E will be a Taryn Clark foil Virgin variant of the main cover. Cover F will be a blank cover, naturally. Cover M will be a Karen S. Darbo cover, and cover N will be a Virgin version of the Goni Montez cover. We'll also have 6 incentives. Boom is going the whole dynamite route for this. Get all the fans of the property to buy this up. Yay! Cover G will be a 1 in 10 Taryn Clark Virgin. This will be just like cover E, but not foil. Cover H will be a 1 in 20 Dan Panosian Boom 20th Anniversary Virgin. It's a version of his open order cover. Cover I will be a 1 in 25 Jorge Corona Virgin. Cover J will be a 1 in 50 Karen S. Darbo virgin. Cover K will be a 1 in 75 James Stocco virgin. And cover L will be a 1 in 100 Christian Ward virgin. So, yes, get your wallet out. Next up, a company called Dre Productions. Dren, I should say Dren. You just forget about Dre. It'll be Christine, Heroes Fall, number 1. $3.99 for 24 pages. It appears to be a one-shot, but like most indies here, they are kind of playing fast and loose with whether it's a mini-series or an ongoing series or a one-shot or whatever, because they don't want to alienate anybody who doesn't like any of those. So please buy my book. It will be whatever you want it to be, until it's not. It'll be written by James Macia, art by Eduardo Garcia, and the cover will be by C.B. Zane. Next up, we're going to go to Floating World Comics. It'll be a new series of Magic Lantern, $4.99 for 24 pages. And it's going to be one shot. It's going to be done by writer-artist Shaky Kane, who is a pretty talented man. And it's an independent book, so you can maybe give it like a little leeway for $4.99 for 24 pages, when you could get 24 pages from Dren Productions for $3.99. The thing about like the whole thing about comics being too expensive, that's one thing. Having the prices be consistent should be another thing. If something costs you $3.99 in one company, it should cost you $3.99 in another company, and so on and so forth, and ad infinitum. Man yells at comic book prices. Old man yells at comic book prices. I'm sorry, everybody. I kind of like took away my age. All right, next up, IPI Comics has an issue coming out. Moon Goddess, number 1. $4.99 for 32 pages. It'll be a 2-issue series. It'll be written by Stephen Koch. The art will be by Julius Stilwan, and the cover will be by Stilwan. Next up, we have Keen Spot, who has a new issue coming out for a series called Dead Mutt. $3.99 for 32 pages. It appears to be a one-shot. I think it's a one-shot. Written by Rob Pochak. Art by Junior Radke, and Radke will be doing the cover. There will be 5 open order covers for this. Cover B by Rob Pochak. Cover C by Jay Hammond. Cover D by D. Hausner. Cover E will be blank. And cover F will be the Rob Pochak flip foil variant. I believe it's going to have his artwork and the main artwork on the other one. You can flip them and have foil on either side if you want. There will be one incentive, a cover G, 1 in 75, Rob Pochak metal. I guess the difference between foil and metal is like harder, thick, actual metal, and foil is kind of like lighter, more looser kind of thing. I don't know. I know the foil. I've had foils in the past. The metal, I have not yet had one. Seems kind of dangerous, but live on the edge with your comic book collecting. Mad Cave has another one out, that a new series. I want you to remind you, don't forget your briefcase, number 1. This is going to be a public service announcement to all business executives to make sure they don't forget their briefcase and all the necessary work. No, it's not. It's not going to be. It looks like it's going to be some kind of like spy kind of thing going on. I joke. I kid. If I can't kid with Mad Cave, who can I kid with? We're buddies. $4.99 for 32 pages, 5-issue miniseries. Written by Elliot Wahal. Art by Philip Sevi, and Philip Sevi will be doing the cover as well. There will be one other cover, cover B by Marguerite Savage. Mad Cave usually puts out pretty good books, so I recommend giving them a shot for anything. I apologize for my hair. This is how it looks when I wake up in the morning. Too much information, I know, but hey, whatever. Okay, Only Press has a licensed book, and they are also going the dynamite route of having a whole bunch of variant covers. I really, this is why these segments are like over an hour. Yes. It's going to be an adaptation of the toy and cartoon Biker Mice from Mars. It'll be $5.99 for 40 pages, and it's going to be an ongoing series. There'll be 2 stories in it. The first story will be written by Melissa Flores, with art by Daniel Gette. The cover will be by Dustin Weaver. The backup will be written by Matt Hodson, with art by E.J. Sue. There'll be 4 open order covers. Cover B by Carl Kerschel. Cover C by Justin Mason. Cover D will be a green blank one. Cover that you can have drawn by anybody you want to. And cover E will be a Carl Kerschel foil cover. There will also be 4 incentives. Cover F, a 1 in 10 by Juan Jose Rip, connecting cover. I believe this will be connecting cover with other covers for the series, I believe. They didn't really specify. Cover G will be 1 of 20 Cano version. Version, not virgin. Don't let my poor pronunciation mislead you. Cover H will be a 150 by Simon Bisley, and cover I will be a 1 of 100, be a version of that Bisley cover. A Bisley cover of Micro Mice from Mars should be pretty trippy. Next up, we have the Mansion Press Ex Utero #1. $25 for 76 pages, which leads me to believe it's going to be a standalone graphic novel. Writing, art, inking, and lettering will all be done by Charles Forsman. He'll also be doing the cover. It have one other cover, which is actually more of a special edition rather than just a variant cover, but done by Forsman, limited version. It will cost you $35 and have added material that you would not find in the regular mainstream version. I believe this was described in previews as being blankets meets Night of the Living Dead or something like this. Some kind of mix of horror and romance. So if you're up for that, you could look at that at your local comic book store. Finally, for new books, there will be, starting off with Xenoscope, Neverland, Sands of Eternity #1. See, I don't know, like, if this, I have a conspiracy-laden mind. I mean, not like bad, like there's pedophiles under a pizza in the basement of a pizza place in Washington D.C. that does not have a basement. That kind of weird kind of conspiracy things. But I oftentimes think there's stories behind stories. And this time I'm wondering, why are there two like Neverland themed comic books released on the same day? You know, I'm sure granted, like I don't know if either one of them is famous enough that are beloved by people that have got enough people's attention that people's going to go and I want the Neverwar and actually go in there and pick up the Neverland Sands of Eternity book or vice versa. But you know, wait a week, and who knows? It might work out that way. It might work out that the books might not come out until next week or whatever. But no, it's just having them both themed out there seems like more than just a coincidence. Is it a coincidence, or something more? All right, sorry about that. It's going to be $5.99 for 40 pages, and it's going to be a one-shot. It's Xenoscope. Of course, it's going to be $5.99 for 40 pages. Written by Joe Brushka. Apparently, he's the only one who's worth noting on there because the artists are not listed in the solicitation. There's probably a whole reason behind that probably I would be interesting to get into, but then I'd have to actually pay attention to Xenoscope. No offense, it's Xenoscope, you know, or anybody who likes half-naked versions of Red Riding Hood, but it's not my scene. Cover will be by Igor Atorino. There'll be 2 open orders, a cover B by Jordi Torta Gones and cover C by David Lorenzo Riviero. One incentive cover would be cover D, 1 in 20 by Josh Burns. And now we come to our recent reoccurring segment that I've added to this, where it's Let's Try This Again. Again! This is a segment where I devote to issues that are once again listed as coming out for the first time on this upcoming Wednesday. However, they have also been listed in the past as coming out on previous Wednesdays. Instead of giving them the full rundown of artists and covers and whatnot, which they do not deserve, I'm just listing them here as just an informational kind of thing. And our perennial favorite has got some company this week. There are 4 of them this week. I don't know whether to be excited or sad about that. I'm kind of like in between like giddy laughter and just open all bawling my eyes out. But I digress. Let's get through this so we can get to the final issues. All right, the first one was Mega Man Timelines #1. Last week I mentioned Mega Man X Timelines was coming out, and not to confuse it with this issue, which was supposed to be released earlier, but apparently it wasn't released because it's now coming from Udon Now. The first time I talked about this was on May 28th, 2025. I've checked. I don't think this is a second printing or a reprint or a reissue of it or anything like that. It doesn't seem like that. Because usually I try to scale those out of my lists here, so I don't, because I'm only a simple man. I'm only a simple man, and I just can't do all of that. So I doubt that this is going to. It might be a reprint. I doubt that it's going to be, but forewarned is forearmed, and you are forearmed now. Next up will be The Purpose Project, #1 from AWA. This one I covered last week, 618. Seemed pretty interesting, but again, AWA does seem to have to be is caught up in the whole Diamond bankruptcy thing, which played havoc with the release schedules of a lot of independent books. And it looks like now that the actual brouhaha is about to settle down, it's still not going to help because it is still affecting the delivery dates of these books. The third one will be 7 Years in Darkness, Year 3, #1. I believe this is the second time this has appeared in this segment. I first covered it back on May 7th, which means it's over a month and a week long overdue. It is from Midnight Factory. And finally, because I have to give it the special billing, you know, like in movies where the big star comes in, they sometimes they either have the top billing, or they have or featuring Jack Nicholson, featuring Chris Evans, something like that. So featuring this month in the Let's Do This Again is We Only Go Out When It Gets Dark from Sumerian, which I first covered back in April 2nd, 2025. So this is going on 3 months without being released. So, yeah, so the other three have a lot of catching up to do. However, it's good to see that there's 3 other people there. Like, you know, now We Only Go Out When It Gets Dark could have like a nice bridge game going, or maybe couples tennis, somebody to talk to, hang out with, go to movies, get to catch dinner with. It's good to have friends. So I'm glad that he's got, the book has got 3 friends along with it, at least this week, for this week at least. Next up, we are going to go into the final issues, and a lot of books are closing this week. So sit tight. I'm going to start this time with Image. The book that's coming from Image will be Universal Monsters, The Mummy, #4. $4.99 for 32 pages. This is part of Image's Comics adaptation of the Universal Monster movies, property license from the movie scenario. It's written art by Faith Erin Hicks, colors by Lee Louridge, and cover will be by Faith Erin Hicks. There'll be 1 open order variant for this, cover B by Jay Lee, and 4 incentive covers. Cover C by Gilliam March, cover D by Jay Lee, but it's a black and white variant of his open order cover, and cover E by Anvita Citria. Cover F will be a 1 in 75 by Maria Wolf. I was digging this series. It's pretty interesting. I didn't really see the original movie. I have all of them on DVD. I just had to get around to watching them. I have a lot of stuff on DVD and Blu-ray and digital that I need to get around to watching it. But I got the really fancy, when they came out a couple years ago, the Alex Ross covers ones. So, you know, I have it on my hard drive somewhere or in the cloud somewhere that I could watch it. Just need like 2 hours uninterrupted to actually sit down and watch it. But I thought this series was pretty good. I don't know how close it hews to the actual movie, but I know the creature from Black Lagoon kind of like took some liberty. So, but it is an interesting series, worth checking out if it comes out in trade. And second last issue from Image is Ultra Mega #9, $7.99 for 48 pages. Writing and art by James Herron, colors by Dave Stewart, letters by Russ Wooten, and the cover will be by James Herron with colors by Dave Stewart. There'll be 1 open order cover, a cover B by Andrew McLean, and 2 incentives, a cover C by Andrew McLean, black and white Virgin, that'll be a 1 in 10 variant, and a cover D, a 1 in 25 incentive by James Herron, black and white Virgin. Next up, Marvel has a whole bunch of books that are being canceled. Some are going away for a long time, some might not be going away for that long at all, but we are going to go through them. First up, final issues of Fantastic Four #33, $3.99 for 32 pages. Written by Ryan North, pencils by Corey Smith, inks by Rain Fulcher, colors by Jesus Aburtov, letters by Joe Carmagna, and the cover will be by Joshua Cassara on art and Dean White on colors. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Marvel Comics on the cusp of its latest Fantastic Four movie, is canceling its long-running series. Bye-bye, going away forever. It's never going to be seen again. Until like a week or two later, which the new series, it starts another one with the same creative team, will start up again. This is kind of an annoying tactic by Marvel. I understand the logic behind that. They have a new movie coming out. Having a book on the stands with a new number one that fans of the movie who might just happen to wander into comic book stores by accident or by forethought, looking for the book, will see, hey, it's a Fantastic Four number one. I'm going to pick this up because this is a brand new series featuring characters I know and love, and I'm sure I don't have to know any of the history behind it to jump right in on it. In for a rude awakening on that, but nonetheless. But they've done this even before, without a movie to support it. I mean, Daredevil has, like, half of the Daredevil series were created for this reason, to get a little bump in price and prestige, just to get like some more sales done. It plays havoc with like your organizing skills, if you're keeping track of your missing issues, all kinds of stuff like that. And it's annoying. Old Man Rand said Marvel's publishing strategy. Let's see here. 5 open order variants for this one. A Cafu foreshadowing version. Yeah, again with my name. Dan Provenmeyer, Phineas and Ferb variant. I follow Mr. Provenmeyer on Instagram and I think Threads. Interesting dude. I don't think I've ever watched Phineas and Ferb, but the guy, he seems really nice, really funny, really intelligent, really on the ball. So if you're looking for somebody to follow on any of the social media platforms, give him a follow. He's a pretty interesting guy. There'll be a Giulia Larmorno Disney What If variant. There'll be a Ron Lim Bring On the Bad Guys variant, and a Sean Galloway Saturday Morning variant. There'll be 2 incentives, a 1-25 by Francesco Mobile, and a 1-100 of the Giulia Larmuno Black and White Disney What If variant. Deadpool is coming to an end with number 15, $7.99 for 72 pages. Why? I'll get to it. Give me a second. Writing will be by Cody Ziegler, Jerry Dugan, and Sanshiro Kasma. Art will be by Andrea DeVito, Hikaru Fesud, Matteo Loli, and Rose Antonio. Colors will be by Guru Effects, and the cover will be by Taryn Clark. This is the last issue of the current Deadpool series, but it's actually the 350th issue that Deadpool has appeared in. It doesn't seem possible, but apparently it is. I guess they're adding all like the Deadpool team-ups and Mercs of the Mouth kind of series, all of them all together. I don't know the math. They don't show their math. But nonetheless, this is going to be treated as the 350th anniversary. Hence the extra pages and the extra stories and all that jazz. You've got to figure that it's not selling because it's being canceled because it's not selling that well. So, as a way for all the loyal fans who've been sticking to it, we're going to make you pay more to complete off the set that nobody else was buying. Thanks, Marvel. There'll be 4 other covers for this. It's one by David Baldione, fantastic cover. One by Matteo Loli. One by Megan Hetrick, it's going to be a Pride variant. And one by Rodney Fuente Bella, Marvel Studios variant. No word on where this is coming back, but it's Deadpool. The funny thing about this, like when like I said it before, like every time you look on the League of Comic Geeks, every issue they have a comments section, so all their members could actually make comments about this and ask others, is this the first issue? Is this the last issue? Is this going on? Is this any good? This is great. This is bad. I hate it. One of the things down there, and I know if it's being sarcastic, it's like the one on top. So it's like, I'm so glad this has come out. I'm so glad he has an ongoing that's going to last more than 15 issues. If it's sarcasm, it's the most beautiful form of sarcasm ever. If it's naivete, my heart goes out to that guy because he's not getting his wish. All right, but I digress. Next up is Spider-Boy, number 20. This is definitely a final issue because it has final issue listed right across the top of it. Yeah, Marvel. Another thing about Marvel, sometimes they have the Phantom last issues where they just release it, don't mention the solicitations or on the cover or in the book that it's the last issue, You might get something in like the letter column in the background saying it's ended if you're lucky, but you have to buy the one at that time to figure it out. But this is officially the last issue of this one, and I think this has more to do less to do with sales than the fact one of its creative personnel is now working for DC Comics. $4.99 for 32 pages, and the writer is Dan Slott. That's the guy who's over at DC, in case you were wondering. Art would be by Paco Medina. Colors would be by Eric Arcienega. Letters by Joe Caramagna. And the cover will be by Paco Medina on art and Edgar Delgado on colors. There will be 3 other covers. Humberto Ramos Farrell cover, Jason Liu puzzle cover, and a Todd Knock foreshadow covers. I don't know what the foreshadows are, but how can you have a foreshadow cover on a book that's ending? Unless it's foreshadowing something else involving a character later on down the line. But I digress. Next up from Marvel, and this is the final last issue from Marvel, is Doom Academy number 5. We've seen a couple of these already, probably going to see a lot more as the One World Under Doom arc, or whatever it's called, comes to an end. This is going to be $3.99 for 32 pages, written by Mackenzie Cadenhead. Art will be by Pascal Ferry. Colors will be Edgar Delgado. Letters by Clayton Cowles. And the cover will be by Pablo Villalobos. There'll be 2 open order variants for this, one by Ron Lim, and one by Woo Chuk Lee, Zoe Laveau featured cover. I guess she's a character from this. And the one incentive would be a 1 in 15 of that Zoe Laveau variant cover, only in a Virgin. Next up, Dark Horse, who last week I thought was canceling all their books, but have 3 more coming to an end this week. It's I weep for their future. First up is Shadow of the Golden Crane, I believe. I don't check your own notes for that. $3.99 for 32 pages. It's part of the Hellboy universe, so it's written by Mike Mignola and Craig Robertson. Artwork will be by Michael Avon Arming, and letters will be by Clem Robbins, and the cover will be by Oming. The one thing I do like about Dark Horse, even though they cancel a whole bunch of books, they typically keep their variant covers to the minimum. It's usually like 1 out of every 5 books, and usually only 1 cover. As we see coming up next. Welcome to Twilight, number 4. This is the From the World of the Minor Threats book. It's kind of an anthology where people were writing stories set in that universe. $4.99 for 32 pages. Adapted from the story, I guess like a story Bible from Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, and Jerry Dugan. Be written by Dugan and have art by Mark Torres, letters by Nate Picos, and a cover by Sabat Haru. I apologize to this person whose name I wrote down, or if I did write it down correctly, I cannot pronounce. So, again, it's a work in progress. But if this goes away, we won't have to worry about it at all ever again. So, we just give a downvote for this. There'll be 1 other cover, cover B by Mark Torres. And the other series that's coming to a close, the 3rd one from Dark Horse, is Who Are the Power Pals? $4.99 for 32 pages. Written by Dwayne Murray. Art by Ahmed Rafat. Letters by Rob Jones. And the cover will be between by the main artist. It'll have 1 other cover, a cover B by Sean Daly. Next up is Mad Cave. Defenders of the Earth number 8 will be coming to it. Will be the last issue of that series. Like I said, for the last couple weeks, Dick Tracy and Flash Gordon are also coming to an end, but it's not actually a true end. It's more or less a hiatus. I don't know if the same thing's going to be doing for this, because this is kind of like a special kind of thing based on the storyline and cartoon from the 80s. So this might be the end for this book, but don't be surprised if it pops up later on. So keep your eyes out if you want to add it back onto your pull list. It will be written by Dan Didio. Art by Jim Calafiore. Colors by Juan Chauvelez. Letters by Carlos M. Mangal. The cover will be by Calafiore. There will be 1 other cover, cover B by Jordi Dukovic, action figure variant. It will be an action figure variant of Ming the Merciless. I love these covers because the attention to detail is so great. If you're looking from across from you think oh wow, it's a action figure. It boggles the mind. But I'm easily boggled. Boom! has several books coming to a close this time. Starting off with In Bloom, $4.99 for 32 pages. It was written by Michael Conrad, with art by John Pearson, and Pearson's also doing the cover. There'll be one open order cover for this, a cover B by Christian Ward, and one incentive, which will be a Virgin version, cover C, of that Christian Ward cover. Next one ending is When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee, number 5. $4.99 for 32 pages. Written by Gus Marino, art by Jacob Wabelka, and Wabelka's doing the cover. It'll have one open order variant, a cover B by Jacob Phillips, and two incentives. It looks like a cover C, 1 in 10 by Jacob Phillips, but a Virgin cover, and a cover D, a 1 in 15 by Rico Murakami, but and a Virgin cover. Next up is the end of a rather long-running series that's been published by a number of publishers, if I'm not mistaken. The Army Wars, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star, Volume number 4, Volume 2, number 12. Yes. When you need to know algebra to actually figure out a title of a thing, I think it's gone a little bit too far. $4.99 for 32 pages. It's written by Claudio Sanchez. If you don't know who that is, he is a singer from a band, Coheed and Cambria. I am so amazed I was actually not only able to remember the actual name of the band, but also remember the name of the band in the actual segment that actually came in. When you get old and you have memory brain farts like this, when you remember something, it's so beautiful and so great and so happy. It makes you feel so good. I'm going to be walking on sunshine for the rest of the day. Not that anybody needs to know that, but yes, from the rock band Coheed and Cambria, you have Claudio Sanchez, and he's co-running it with Chandra Eckert. Art will be by Guillaume Martinez. Colors will be by Valentina Bianconi. Letters will be by Taylor Esposito. And the cover will be by Gianluca Guglielma. There'll be one open order variant, cover B by Jonathan Rayshak. And one incentive will be a cover C. It'll be a Virgin version of that Rayshak alternate. This has been Sanchez's long-time kind of passion project in comic books. It's been going on for quite some time, but apparently this is the last issue of the entire overwhelming arc. That's how the solicitation makes it seem. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but you might want to take it with a grain of salt. But however, if you are a fan of this series, this is probably the last one you'll be getting. Or if you ever want to get into it, well, you now get it through trade and be safe in the aspect, mostly safe, that it's going to be a complete another story by the time you get done reading all of them. But comic books are comic books. You never know, it might be coming back later on. I don't know. Next up, we have Dynamite, who has 2 last issues, because this segment doesn't sap my soul enough. First one is Red Sonja Attacks Mars, number 4. This is the miniseries that featured Red Sonja attacking the creatures from Mars Attacks, the card series that was turned into a movie by Tim Burton. $4.99 for 32 pages. Be written by Jay Stephens. Art by Ken Suken. Cover by Joseph Michael Linzer. There'll be 3 open order covers. Cover B by Jay Lee. Cover C by Greg Land. And cover D by Joseph Michael Linzer, a Virgin version of his main cover. There'll be 8 incentives. Cover E, Jay Lee, black and white, that'll be 1 in 10. Cover F will be a 1 in 10 Greg Land, black and white, Virgin. Cover G will be a Jay Lee, black and white, Virgin, 1 in 15. And a 1 in 15 of Greg Land, Virgin. Cover I will be a 1 in 20 Joseph Michael Linzer, black and white. Cover J will be a 1 in 7 Greg Land, black and white. Cover K will be a 1 in 7 Joseph Michael Linzer green line variant, which basically looks like a sketch cover, only with green pencil. And cover L will be a 1 in 10 Jay Lee Virgin. And also, Barbarella is coming to the end with number 4, $4.99. Written by Blake Northcott, art by Anna Morozova, and covered by Joseph Michael Linzer. Big day for Mr. Linzer. He's got 2 covers, and I'm sure he's going to have a whole bunch of variants for this one too. There'll be 4 open order variants. Cover B by Annie Wu. Cover C will be by Richard Pace. It looks like an Akira tribute cover. Cover D will be a cosplay variant. And cover E will be a Joseph Michael Linzer Virgin variant. There'll be 5 incentive covers. Cover F, a 1 in 10 of the cosplay, but only a Virgin. Cover G will be a 1 in 10 Joseph Michael Linzer black and white variant. Cover H will be a 1 in 10 Richard Pace Virgin variant. Cover I will be a 1 in 15 Joseph Michael Linzer black and white Virgin. And finally, cover J will be a 1 in 15 Annie Wu Virgin. I love the fact it's last issue and they can't stop having like 9 alternate covers, or 11, depending on which issue you're talking about. It's just, but that's how they make their money. That's why they keep able to afford these licenses, and yada yada yada. Titan has a last issue coming up. It's going to be the last issue, apparently, of its Savage Sword of Conan magazine-size book. It's going to be ending with number 9. I remember this being solicited as a miniseries back when it first came out. I think they extended it a little bit, but maybe they finally, the end has caught up with them. It's going to be $6.99 for 64 pages, and again, it's going to be magazine size. If you know, you know. Be written and drawn by various. They have numerous stories in it, and they didn't really list it in this solicitation, so you don't get that information. The main cover will also be done by Neil Adams, posthumous cover as well, because he's passed away. But this might be some of his last original artwork that you'll find on there. If this is in fact original artwork, it could be just a repurposed artwork from one of his private things. I do not know. But there'll also be another cover, cover B by Alex Hurley. Xenoscope has a final issue coming out this week. Killer Cobra, The Hunt Begins, number 3. $4.99 for 32 pages. Written by Joe Bruscia. Art by Rodrigo Xavier and Massimiliano Lamanna. Colors by Leonardo Parcirotti. Letters by Taylor Esposito. And the cover will be by Marco Santucci. There will be 2 open order variants. Cover B by Igo Vittorino. And cover C by Gibo Vigante. The one incentive will also be a cover D by Gibo Vigante. Devil's Due, which was a company that I didn't even realize is still around anymore, it has a final issue coming out. The YFU. YFU? YFU? Just because. Number 3. $4.99 for 32 pages. Written by Josh Blaylock, who is the main creative guy behind that. Artwork by Travis Heimel. And the cover will be by Travis Heimel. Next up, next up is a news thing, but before that, this one also has a special "Let's Try This Again" feature. Again! We have three final issues that had already announced on this feature. First up is The Sickness. Are you down with The Sickness? Not Uncivilized Books, because they keep on soliciting its final issue. I first covered this back in May 28th, and it still has not come out to complete this. This is part and parcel for the series. This was when I have it on my pull list, and it's one of those ones like when it didn't come out on any kind of like a regular schedule. Like it'd be like, oh, wow, I guess this came out this week. 2 months after the last one came out. Okay. So Lord knows when we're going to see this, but expect this is going to be a recurring feature in this. I think it might be a little bit better than the We Only Go Out When It Gets Dark book for new releases, but you're still going to get stuff. Next up is Mirko Andolfo's Sweet Paprika, Open for Business, number 4. This is from Image, and this is what I mentioned. I think it was like on last week's thing. I think, and it seemed familiar to me. Like, did I cover this already? But I couldn't find it. But maybe it was there and I just didn't realize it because it still hasn't been released. It's on again this week as well. And Planetary Expansion, number 6. Critical Entertainment. I first covered this back on May 28th. It didn't appear on last week's like solicitations, but it appears this week. It doesn't appear to be like a second printing or anything like that. You get this with independent books, especially the lower level, like the lower tier. Image is a pretty big book to actually have this kind of problem. Usually they have their schedule pretty much all on tight. That's how they made themselves a name with themselves. after a really dodgy start with the original creators of like, well, is the book coming out? Well, it all depends if Rob Liefeld feels like putting out an issue this week. Yeah. But they're pretty good at keeping stuff on schedule and making sure everything's good to go when it's ready to go. But the smaller ones, either they're run by mom and pop operations or something like this, or lower stuff, or don't have a lot of money for printing or whatever, and they have some capital issues, or just being caught in the flotsam and jetsam of the whole Diamond bankruptcy, you'll see a lot of these being delayed and not arriving, or being solicited and not showing up. Is it annoying? Yeah. Can you really fault them? If they have any say in the matter, yes, but you can't really tell because they could be just affected by the wicked hand of fate. But who knows? Next up, another subsection of this installment I like to call Issues of Note.
This looks interesting.
Next up is from DC. It'd be Justice League Unlimited number 8, $3.99 for 32 pages, written by Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora, colors by Tamara Bonvillain, and the cover will be by Dan Mora. This will be the end of the We Are Yesterday crossover that happened between this and World's Finest Batman and Superman, also written by Mark Waid. It's a whole, I guess, reappearance of the Injustice League and Superman and Batman being sent through time so they don't interrupt with their shenanigans. This will have 5 open order variants. Cover B by Ichikure, cover C by Tago da Silva, cover D by Salvador LaRocca, cover E will be by a Hayden Sherman DC Pride variant, and cover F will be a George Perez Legacy version. I think that the Legacy version is going to be a redoing of, because he had a postcard set of the Justice League of America back in the 80s, and he did like postcards for each individual member of that time, except for like the Detroit era one with like Steel and Vibe and Gypsy and Vixen. They all got on one card, but he also had one with all the original Justice League on it. That card will be the cover for this one. I wish I had money to get all of them. I do not. I wish I had money to actually get the original postcard set. I do not. There'll be one incentive. There'll be a cover G, Travis Moore connecting variant. I don't know if it's connecting through issues of the Justice League Unlimited or throughout the whole crossover. But that's the end of these notes. And ladies and gentlemen, in far less time than I thought was actually going to happen, I'm very kind of pleased with myself. We are coming to our last segment, facsimiles. We have facsimiles from 3 companies this week, so let's get down to it. Let's start with Archie. Archie is doing a facsimile for Archie's Pal Jughead number 79. It'll have 2 versions, a facsimile and also a Stadium Comics Bill Galvan cover. It will be kind of like the zombified Jughead coming through the cover. I looked at the solicitation, doesn't seem like there's any really special first appearance or anything like this in it. I might have missed something though, but it's a facsimile from Archie. Next up, DC Comics has a facsimile for Batman Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween Special number 3. It'll have a facsimile and also a foil version of this cover. I don't know if this completes the entire set of that, but if there's more Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween specials out there, I think it's a safe bet to expect a facsimile from those as well. They've been doing the whole line so far. And next, Marvel, again with their themed facsimiles, another installment of their reprinting in facsimile form of the Dark Phoenix saga. It's going to be X-Men 136. It will have a regular facsimile, but also an incentive, a 1 in 25 Ivan Tao variant. That's the interesting stuff about Marvel and their facsimiles. They often have their kind of like facsimile covers and an alternate cover, which is a completely original concept as well. That's it for this week. I'd like to remind you of what I opened this up with. Let me know if you like this segment. If you make it through this thing, it seems like you did. And if you did, I thank you, and I appreciate this. And if you like it, let me know. If only one person says, yeah, I like to keep this around, I will keep this around. because I'm that kind of pedantic, or I don't know if that's the actual word for it, that much of a puppy dog, craving approval. I will keep this here. We will do this. I will keep this going for you, just so we can do it. But if you made it through this one and gave it a whole honest effort, and I could do without this. You don't have to do this. Don't worry about it. Let me know that. Just, if you like it, just simple thing as a thumbs up, or if you don't like it, I guess a thumbs down would be good for that. I think I don't know that would do for the whole health of the site, but don't say anything, and then I'll know. Until then, I have other videos on the site coming up there. Give us a subscribe. You'll get notified of the other videos that you might like better. Seems to have better audience response to it. And I hope to see you next time, if there is a next time. But until then, keep on collecting.